Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. As you know, that we, I don't want to say acquired a 501c3, but we took over management operations of a 501c3 called 509 Pacific, here shared on the screen. I encourage each of you to consider forming and operating a 501c3 in addition to your for-profit business, because nonprofits have a remarkable opportunity to go get grants. And we have been able to secure yet another grant. And any of you that want to form a 501c3, we can help you as well. But our topic is not that. Our topic are free credit clinics. So this is not a divergence from who we are and what we do. Our focus primarily is helping entrepreneurs, small business owners qualify for funding. But part of what we do is educate. And as we educate, we're helping entrepreneurs know that it does not matter how badly you want money. It does not matter how badly you need money. What matters is, do you have a fundable business? Is your business fundable? And that's our primary focus. But there are some lenders, not all, but there are some lenders that also look at the business owner. And they ask, is the business owner credible? So no, don't confuse it. Some lenders only look at the business, but some lenders do look at the business owner. So as we've been working through the 4-week funding program that's working great, if any of you are not currently a white label partner, immediately after the Zoom, let us know. There's no cost to be a white label partner, no cost, and you're able to go out, educate people, help people, and we do a 50-50 revenue split. But back to the point today, as we've been working with clients through the 4-week funding program, we've been a little surprised by how many people have not managed their personal credit very effectively. So they have, to put it pleasantly and professionally, non-optimal credit. And so what happens when we run into these individuals that frankly haven't managed their credit profile? And I know everyone has a story and there's always a reason. It's not their fault. We're not placing blame. But regardless of the reason, whether it's a good reason, bad reason, doesn't matter. It's just the reality. If the business owner does not have a strong personal credit profile, does that prevent them from being successful in getting business funding? No, not necessarily. But also, will they have more options if they also look credible the way that their business looks credible? Obviously. And it just makes sense to have good credit. I think the approach that we're taking and we'd ask you to take is having bad credit is an option. It's not a death sentence. It's not a ball and shackle. It's an option. If things happen for whatever reason, good reason, bad reason, couldn't help it reason, doesn't matter, you don't have to have bad credit. There are legal processes and systems to remove negative and add positive. So as we've been working with a lot of entrepreneurs, we realized A, a lot of them have shitty credit, and B, many of them are not properly empowered of what to do about it. So with the 501c3, 509 Pacific, we were able to put together a grant request and we received the grant funding. So we're rolling it out officially today. And our approach, which you may find unique or innovative or creative, but it's based around having free credit clinics. Now you might look at that and say, well, what does that mean? Any of you that went to law school, you're going to say, I see what you guys are doing, because any of you that went to law school, probably as part of your clinical experience, you had legal clinics, and that's where you'd set up pop-up shops and give people advice that's getting evicted from their apartment or their employers didn't pay them properly. It's essentially a free legal clinic, is what many of you have seen. Well, there are other types of free clinics. There's free medical clinics, which of course is not what we're doing, but what we're doing are free credit clinics. And so these are typically held by legal aid groups or by law students, as I mentioned, or nonprofits such as ours, a 501c3. So what does this provide the participant? It provides them a free consultation with an attorney or a paralegal to get help resolving credit issues. Because again, we've got to adopt this mindset. Having bad credit is an option. And if someone wants that option, of course, that's their right. We live in a free society. But if you do have bad credit and you don't want it, you don't have to have it. You don't have to have it. Now, we're not talking about credit repair. Credit repair is a different beast. Credit repair is about dispute. So we're not speaking negatively of that, but what we're talking about today is not credit repair. So what do we know about credit scores? Now, again, we're talking about personal credit today. With this grant, it's focused on personal credit, not the business credit, but it makes sense we're having this discussion. Why? Because some lenders look at personal credit, not all. So we need to understand that credit scores and reports are fluid and they have no memory. So what does that mean? Someone could have bad credit or less than imperfect credit today, but does that mean that they have to have bad credit or less than perfect credit a month from now? No, there's no requirement. Credit reports are a snapshot in time, right now. What do you have right now? So we can change from right now to 30 days later, and then that snapshot and then going forward looks positive. So that's an important lesson to understand. So as it describes here, and again, I'm navigating on the 509pacific.org website. Again, for those of you that came on late, nonprofits work differently than for-profits. Any of you that currently are not running a 501c3, we strongly encourage you consider forming one, most likely in addition to your for-profit entity. We can help you do that through the 4-week funding if you want. We'll take care of the filings and all that. But the beauty of having a nonprofit organization, and in addition to it having a nice ring to it, better community response, is you can go get grants. Very hard to get grants for a for-profit business. So on 509 Pacific Free Credit Clinic here, we're going to talk about 4 items and then answer any of the questions that you have. Again, for those of you that are coming in late, why are we talking about personal credit when we're focused on business financial literacy and business funding? It's because some business lenders look at the credibility of the business owner, not all. And since some do, and we see that many of our clients have shitty credit, we decided to apply for a grant, which we received. We're rolling out today, and this is how we're implementing. All right, so why participate in our credit clinics? And again, it's free, of course, but our credit clinics can assist participants address inquiries, charge-offs, collections, and other derogatory remarks appearing on their credit reports and impacting their credit scores. Now, let's pause for a moment. Many of you are very well versed in personal credit. So what you know and what I know is people often are overly consumed with their credit score. They think the score tells their credit story. That's not true at all. It has equal weighting on their credit profile. What's on the profile? We've seen people with low credit scores get great funding options, and we've seen people with high credit scores get little or no funding options, because it's more than just the score, it's the profile. So in addition to helping participants with derogatory, which means negative items, we can also help them by adding new positive trade lines to strengthen their profiles. And some people just have high revolving utilization. We also can help them with that. So there's a formula for funding, and that's what we do over on the 4-week funding side. But there's also a formula for great credit. And it's simply stated an absence of negative and a presence of positive. So to have a great credit profile, We don't want to have negative items on our reports like excess inquiries, charge-offs, collections, and so forth. So we don't want those. And we do want positive trade lines. Trade lines could be real estate, automobile, credit cards, other types of loans. Business loans typically don't count because business loans usually don't report on personal credit. Business loans normally report on business credit, which isn't our topic today. Continuing on, credit clinics can sometimes facilitate lawsuits. So what you see here is that our approach to credit is a legal-based approach, not credit repair, dispute. We believe that credit issues are legal issues, so that's why we're facilitating participants to be able to meet with an attorney or paralegal to review their credit report and come up with a plan. Because a legal approach is effective, it's always effective. Credit repair, quote unquote, may or may not be. We are conducting these clinics either by phone or by Zoom to make it more convenient so people don't have to come to some location. All right, so is this just about credit repair? Absolutely not. So credit repair, as we talked about before, is a simplistic method of disputing negative items. It's often not effective, and also it doesn't usually involve adding new positive trade lines. Because what we're trying to do is to get everyone above a 720. How do you get above a 720 so you get pretty much automatic approvals on things? It's by not having negatives, and it's by having an adequate amount of positives. So again, we believe that this is a legal issue and we're offering a legal approach. So when credit reporting companies violate your legal rights as established through the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, you have the right to bring a lawsuit. Credit reporting companies that break the law can be held liable for damages and attorney fees. In the case of a willful failure to comply with the law, the credit bureaus can also be liable for actual or statutory damages and punitive damages. So you start to see, okay, I see how this is different than credit repair. Credit repair is sending normally a bunch of dispute letters. Here we're taking a legal approach. And then if the credit bureaus are not complying, then we can actually initiate litigation against them. And you can imagine that Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, they don't want to be sued. They have a big team of attorneys, but they don't want to be sued, so that can motivate them. So when we talk about legal strategies, here's a quick way for a consumer to determine, is the solution that they have to their problem, because that's what you and I do. Let's step back. What do you and I do? We solve problems, and people that solve problems can generate a great income, right? That's the entrepreneurial mindset. Go find a problem that you can solve, and then people will pay you to solve that problem. So when we're talking about a legal approach versus quote unquote credit repair, here's the one question that can help you vet out, is someone offering a legal model or quote unquote credit repair? Ask them who the tortfeasor is. So if you have some rep saying, oh yeah, I can clean up your credit, right? For $59 a month, I can clean up your credit. Say, oh, okay, great. Who is the tortfeasor? Ask them that question. All right, so let's move on. How do I participate in a credit clinic? Well, it's free and it's convenient. There's 3 steps. Now, most of you that are on our training today are our distribution partners, so you're welcome to go through this, but this is more about a new tool, a new arrow in your quiver, so you can help more people qualify for more funding. That's why we're talking about it to you today. So we have an inquiry form. So it's on 509pacific.org, free credit clinic. This is the inquiry form. Crazy simple, right? What's your name, mobile number, email address, and then, and these all have asterisks, so those are required. Is it that I want better credit to buy real estate? If so, check that box. If not, not. Am I looking for business funding, which is normally who we're helping? If so, check the box. If not, or we give them an other, and then they can give us a little description of what's going on if they want. So step one is to complete this form right here. Crazy simple. Then we're going to text them. Why do we text them instead of email them? Texting tends to be received. Emails can get caught in filters, spam, just in a mass amount of emails that we all seem to get each day. So what will happen is then we'll text the person that filled this out a link. The link is to obtain a current credit report. And this is another way to kind of determine or evaluate the sophistication of who someone is working with for improving credit. We already approached the tortfeasor question. Now we're on to the second one. If you're working with someone and they say, oh, go get a credit report and provide it to us, you're like, what the fuck? I mean, how can you be in the industry of improving credit and you can't pull my credit report? So we've gone through the process where we had to apply, we had to go through background checks, we had to go through site visits. So we can pull soft pull reports directly from the bureaus. We don't have to ask the participant, oh, go get a credit report somewhere and send to us. That's another red flag. If they're requiring, if they, meaning the credit repair resource, is requiring the client to go get their own credit report, I think we might want to look a little deeper. So, of course, we're going to do a soft pull so it doesn't affect their score. Then what will happen is one of our attorneys or paralegals will follow up with them for a consultation. So again, we know that everyone's busy, everyone's time is valuable. So what we do is we actually prepare for the consultation in advance. So once the inquiry form is completed, they get the text. The text allows us to do the soft pull. So our attorneys or paralegals will review the soft pull before the scheduled session. What's the cost? There's no cost to participate in the credit clinic. Due to the grant, which I've mentioned a couple of times, there's no cost to go through the consultation with the attorneys or paralegals. Now's the time to have better credit, and then just a little plug of what good credit can do. Again, most of the folks that you and I are going to interface with are looking for business funding, and by having a strong personal credit profile, that will give them more options, and you could argue even more fundability. But it's not accurate to say, oh, I have to have good personal credit to get business funding. That's not a universally true statement. Some types of business funding is not dependent upon personal credit, and some have very relaxed requirements. But in general, you and I are financially literacy educators, right? We're out helping people understand, frankly, how money works. And from that perspective, hopefully you realize now that we have a resource that if someone has shitty credit, they don't need to have bad credit. And it doesn't matter the reason. They don't have to tell us the life story of how it's not their fault. We're not here to lay blame. But we can evaluate, we can help them legally remove derogatory items, and we can help them legally add positive items. So any questions on the free credit clinics? The 3 steps are spelled out here. Crazy simple. All right. James is asking, is this only for our clients? In other words, the clients that are participating in the business funding. No, this is available to anyone, so it's not a restricted group. All right, and then Michael's asking, does it happen automatic? So let's go over, most of you now are white label partners. We've removed the price from that, so it doesn't cost anything to be a white label partner. What we're doing then is helping people get business funding, as it states on 4-week funding, through a 4-week process. But I'm getting to James' question here. That's why I opened this other page up. Is that, yes, during this 4-week process, we normally do a soft credit pull to evaluate the participant's personal credit, because that will impact the plan. Because what we're doing here through this 4-week process is essentially getting everything ready to go to funding. And we have a lender match technology that takes the unique characteristics, what we would call mitigating circumstances of each participant to match them to the right lender and loan program. So James, you're right that this soft pull that we're talking about here is already incorporated in this process because it needs to be. But James, I guess the point that we're trying to make here is now if there's other people that you're running into that have less than perfect credit, what we call imperfect credit, now there's a free, legal, trustworthy resource that they can get help. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, anyone else have questions, comments, concerns? You can type those into the Q&A. So this is not a divergence of who we are or what we do, but you could certainly use this as part of your lead flow, right? If you're looking for small businesses to participate in the 4-week funding program, because you're making $1,000 upfront each time someone enrolls in the 4-week business funding program. As a white label partner, you're making $1,000 upfront the day of enrollment, and then you're normally making 10% of their capital raise, right? So that's a big deal. So they're going to be guaranteed 100,000, so you're going to make at least 11,000 each time as a white label partner you bring someone through this 4-week sequence. But the point is if we can, the stronger the client, the more funding they'll get, which is good for them. And the stronger the client, the more capital raise they'll receive and the more performance fee you'll receive. So the point is specifically, this can help your participants have a higher capital raise. And also you could use this as a door opener because credit, people usually don't want just a better credit score just for the score. Some people do, but usually not. Usually people want the utility of credit. I want a better credit score so I can I can buy a house, so I can get business funding, so I can get a car. Those are some common examples. Well, you can see why we've strategically asked those questions here, because we can get business funding for real estate much easier than what people can get an individual mortgage. So we need to know if that's of their interest. And of course, this is our wheelhouse here, business funding. So the point is, yes, James, you could use this as a door opener if you wanted. All right, Sanya's asking about leads. So yes, we have the free lead program continuing in September. So you need to be a white label partner. And if you're, again, there's no cost to be a white label partner. If you need help getting set up as a white label partner, then reach out to us. You see our phone number here, you see our email here. But what happens is if you're a white label partner, then specifically, instead of clients signing up with us, they sign up with you. So we're your vendor, but you're taking under your branding the program out to the marketplace. So you control the branding and you control the pricing. So you can make the pricing higher, which would generate more profit for you, or you can make the the cost less. So your profit is less. That's up to you. And you can vary that on a client by client basis. We have one distribution partner. He and I were texting over the weekend, and I'll leave his name out. I respect him tremendously, but it dawned on me but reading his text, that there's some basic business principles, right? That we kind of assume that everyone knows. And what are a couple of those? Well, number one, if we want business funding, we need to have a business that's set up properly and that's fundable. And part of that is the 3 C's: credit, collateral, and capacity. Now, when we talk about business funding and credit, we're talking about business credit more so. But secondly, and when I was a college professor, just at a community college, a junior college, but when I was a college professor, I taught intro to business. And what was one of the most impactful points that we wanted every student to know There's one primary goal of businesses. It's a one-word answer. Who can tell me what the primary goal of a business is with a one-word answer? Go ahead and type it into the Q&A. I'll give you a quick quiz to see if you know. It's kind of unfair. We've not covered it, but there's a one-word answer that it's the primary goal, should be, of every business. Because if you don't have this, you will go out of business. Yeah, a number of you got it. It's profit. It's profit. So what we're going to do is help you as a white label partner be profitable, but you control the pricing. So with the 4-week funding program, it allows us to help anyone in 28 days have a fundable business. You determine the pricing. With that, normally most of you are charging $2,000 up front, and that's a refundable deposit. So if you feel like $1,000, because we're doing a 50-50 split with white label partners. So if you charge $2,000, you make $1,000 essentially for bringing the client to the table. We get $1,000 for doing the work. We do all the implementation for you. We're like your back office. If you feel like $2,000 is too much, then that's okay. Then reduce it, but it's going to reduce your profit. If you, at your core, your inner being thinks, oh, but profit's bad, you should not own a business. Forgive me, you should not own a business. Now, maybe you could run a nonprofit where mission is crucial. But even with nonprofits, if you don't have positive cash flow, you go out of business. You go out of business. So if you are a CEO, executive director, president, manager, whatever you want title, whether it's a nonprofit or for-profit, you've got to make sure you have positive cash flow or you'll no longer be in business. And so it's very easy to have positive cash flow as a white label partner, isn't it? You sign up. How much does it cost to be a white label partner? $0. So what's the barrier to entry? None. It's $0. Once you're a white label partner, we send you an onboarding email that has the editable client agreement. Well, what's the client agreement look like? We're very transparent. Come to 4-week funding, click this green button, and this is our version of the client agreement, right? This is our version. But what will you do if you're a white label partner? You're going to remove our information and you're going to put your information on it. And if you want to change pricing, you can change pricing. It's a Word document. And again, forgive me for saying this, if you don't have the competency to edit a Word document, you probably shouldn't be a CEO of a white label partnership. But regardless, you edit the core agreement. Usually you're going to save it as a PDF, and then normally you'll upload it into DocuSign or Adobe or whatever e-signature software that you want to use. And now you're open for business. So the cost is $0. And then from that, you determine your profitability. But normally participants are paying $2,000 refundable deposit for this. And so 50-50 split. So you're making $1,000 net profit in your pocket up front. And then you can determine what the performance fee is going to be on the back end. And we do a 50-50 split. So again, it's up to you. But you should be, if you wanted just a general number to project off of, each client you enroll in the 4-week funding, you should be generating 11,000. Just use a nice round number, 11,000. Is it get rich quick? No. Is it like winning the lottery? No. And I realize for people like Bill Biggs and some of you, an extra 11,000 is not a big deal. But what if we started doing that once a day, once a week even? You know, it can become material. All right, so with that being said, let's summarize and we'll end so we can all get to work. So as a 501c3, we recommend that all of you have a 501c3 as part of your organizational structure. If you don't, let us know. We can help you set up one. How would we do that? Go through the 4-week business funding program. We'll take care of doing the filing of the entity with the Secretary of State. But as a 501c3 nonprofit, we go out and we apply for grants. People that want grants, that's fine. There are real grants out there, but you're probably not going to get a grant if you are a for-profit. You probably need to have a 501c3. One of the grants that the grant we just received is to conduct free credit clinics. It's described on 509pacific.org, free credit clinic. This is great to help those individuals. They could be participants in this program, or they could just be someone off the street. Anyone that is just sick and tired of having shitty credit or less than perfect credit should consider this. They can sit down at no cost with an attorney or paralegal and get some straight answers. What needs to be done to remove negative? What needs to be done to add positive so we can have a strong credit score, so we get pretty much automatic approvals for business loans, home loans, auto loans, credit cards, so forth. All right, if there's anything we can do for you, let us know. Obviously, our phone number is here. We'll be back tomorrow morning. And thank you for your time. Have a great day. Bye.